Welcome to the Big Cat Lounge podcast, where we interview guests in a casual lounge setting from all over the world, sharing their insights one story at a time. We can be found on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, iHeartRadio, and much more. Please rate and subscribe to our show to stay updated on the Big Cat Lounge. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to the Big Cat Lounge podcast. I'm Big Cat KZ, and today's guest comes from Austin, Texas. She is known as your chief travel guru. Her passion has been in hospitality and tourism for 20 years and travel and philosophy. Her travel agency, Book Here, Give Here, is about travel that gives. It is 100% minority and women-owned small business. Turn your travel dreams into amazing experiences. We welcome Loulu Lima to the Big Cat Lounge podcast.
Thank you so much for that amazing intro.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on to the show. So tell us a little bit about how you became known as a travel guru.
Yeah, great. So travel has been my passion since I was a child. My first passport was when I was 6 months old. And it was my first trip to Bermuda. We basically learned how to swim and walk and everything else pretty much there. My family would continuously travel. I came to a family where, yes, the house needs maintenance, but a trip is needed more. So let's go on a trip. So my parents would just put a Band-Aid on something and we would just hop on the plane and go somewhere. So I grew up with that. I lived in Switzerland for a couple of years as a 17-year-old. I left right after high school and I went to college there and I had a blast. I had an amazing opportunity to not only learn how to do solo travel by myself, but also it was the time before the euro. So every single country had a different currency. So I was really learning all of the moving pieces of exchanging money, making sure that I was getting the best bang for my buck, how to book travel back in the day, because it was before, big computers and everything was hooked up. So I've been doing this for a really long time. And I have worked for big companies like Travelocity and Travel Zoo. And when I finally moved to Austin and, I'm here from growing up in New York City, obviously gave me a great opportunity to learn about different cultures. But once I got here to Austin, I was like, I just need to go back and do what I love. And that's basically what I'm doing right now. I call it my retirement job because I don't really work a day in my life. I'm having a blast. And part of what I do is just making sure that everybody can see the world the way I saw it. I was able to go into all the little nooks and crannies, meet amazing people that I'm still friends with 30 years later. And in all parts of the world, in all different little corners. I love it. It is the most amazing and freeing experience that can be.
Yeah, it's true. It's truly unique just to be able to travel and explore and see different cultures because we only know so much from what we see in the news or what we hear from a friend, but actually going there and seeing it for yourself, hands-on, you can really take a lot back to you and just be able to reflect on others and their experiences.
Yes, absolutely. And so, with that, I also fell in love with gastronomy. And so everybody has to eat, right?
Yeah.
So why not learn how to, be with the people through food? And for me, it became one of the pillars of who I am. I went to culinary school. I actually had a catering company for many years out of New York City. And it was, again, an opportunity to just to mesh with people, break bread with different people all the time. And it was just amazing.
And what would you say differentiates you and your team from Priceline or Travelocity, since you did get to work for Travelocity for some time? So what makes you really different from them?
Well, first of all, I'm not the internet. I vet what's on the internet. So the internet is great for looking and for searching. Get your information, but then go to somebody who knows. And that's what the difference is. I'm not a call center. I am truly vested in your trip. If something is not right, I'm going to make it happen. And we're going to be in communication. Somebody who hires me has my cell phone number. And if you need to call me at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're going to call me at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to answer the phone, and I'm going to make your trip right. Or I'm going to guide you into, whatever you need. So there isn't a, well, it's not my problem, or gee, I can't help you, or you'll have to call back in the morning when the business hours are, none of that happens. You're my client. Business hours are when you need me. I don't know of anybody else who does that. And you're just not another revenue number to me. I mean, and I think that's one of the most important pieces that people need to understand about travel advisors, because there's a lot of us, and we all work to make sure that you have an amazing trip.
Yeah, it's that personal touch. You're always there, 24/7. You're making sure that any question that they have is not left unanswered.
That's right. No stone unturned.
Mm-hmm. And I guess what would be some of the offers you get, booking early, if you wanted to book a trip early through your company?
Yeah, so there's always different offers that are happening. That each different supplier puts out. So the earlier you book, especially when you book with a travel advisor, you get an opportunity to maybe have a payment plan option that you don't have the ability to do on, say, Travelocity or Expedia, without having to do a credit check and have an interest on it. These are interest-free, no credit checks pieces of the puzzle. So the earlier you book, you give yourself plenty of time to pay for your entire trip before you go. And it doesn't matter where in the world you want to do it. It can all be worked out.
So if I wanted to book a trip with your agency, what would you say is the first step I should do? Should I fill out a trip questionnaire?
Yeah, so that's a great thing. So usually when people want to they reach out and they have a question about a trip. We schedule a call. There is a trip questionnaire on our website that you can absolutely complete. That will trigger a call as well. And we then set up a call to basically understand what all your needs are and what your budget is. So I want to make sure that what your needs are and your budget are aligned. Because obviously, if you want a 5-star, champagne adventure with a beer budget, I have to bring you down to reality.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But if there is a middle of the line where there's a little give and take in certain places, there's certain places that we can you can have the champagne, and there's certain places that you're going to want to have the beer anyways. So we kind of do a little bit of a mix and match so that you have what's really important to you. One of the things that I do as a travel advisor, right? Because I vet everything. So in talking to you, I really get a great opportunity to understand what are we doing? What are we meshing? Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not the only one who does it. So I love my industry. I love what I do. I love that my agency is also focuses on sustainability and equitability. So and that's also something that's important, because my agency focuses on making sure that we work with the small business owners. So tourism dollars stay local. So it really has a big impact.
How are you able to give back a portion of a booking to charity? How are you able to do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when suppliers do pay us a commission, we separate a portion of that. And when you fill out your credit card authorization form, we ask you, what charity from our vetted list would you like to impact? Wow. So you really have an opportunity to do all of the above.
Yeah, and that's something you don't get anywhere else. Where are you going to be able to travel and also give back and make a difference?
There's a lot of ways to make a difference. You make a difference at home through the give back, and then in destination by the suppliers that I help put together your trip.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you really are doing a lot of social wellness, and all you have to do is just take a trip and book with somebody that you trust.
What would you say is one of the most popular places that some of your clients have booked?
Well, recently, obviously, because of COVID, we've had some challenges in where we could go, and some limitations. But before that, the world was their oyster, right? So we've done a lot of trips into Asia, especially into Thailand, and going around the entire country, Vietnam. We even do all of South America. Like you start off in Argentina, you end up in Brazil, and or you end up in Chile, especially if you're like looking for the vineyards and all of that kind of stuff. Going into Central America, where you can easily peruse the entire country of Costa Rica in about 3 weeks. Or you want an Indiana Jones kind of adventure, we can get you that in Guatemala. So like there's just so many places. I actually have a client now who's planning El Salvador with me, and she's going to go in May, and it's going to be her and her girlfriend, and it's going to be great. And so people are just still wanting to explore.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously the Caribbean is where everybody wants to relax and rejuvenate. Mexico as well. There's so many parts of Mexico. It really depends on what kind of adventure you want to have. If you want to have some type of beach, laid back adventure, or if you want to have oh my God, I gotta do something that I've never done before. That I've got to go out of my comfort zone. All of it is completely available, and I love it. And it's just right. It's not even like a very far flight from all of us here in the US.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's not, yeah. And how many countries would you say you visited since you've been to so many?
I go to multiple destinations.
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna, and sometimes they're all in the same country. So
Okay.
country wise, I'm still under 40, but I've been to so many destinations because I like to go and I like to explore and learn them and revisit. So destinations are over the 100,
Yeah.
almost like 150 or so, but but countries wise, it's probably just under 40.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
Well, prior to COVID, I spent almost 10 months of the year traveling. And
Oh,
that's another thing that makes me a little different. Now, I vet everything. So I'm boots on the ground, meeting my vendors, building those relationships so that when I send you, you have a really great relationship with somebody on the ground. You know who that person is. There's a WhatsApp group text that has already started before you left. So you absolutely know who you're working with.
percentage of your clients like have never traveled or like left the country before?
I would say about 10% of our first timers.
Yeah, and I think it's just like the fear of the unknown. They must, have a lot of questions, but having you as a support system and as a resource will help ease them through the process.
And that's the goal. Because I want to make sure that if they've never left the country, or if they're doing things that are outside their comfort zone, they know that they're not alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because yeah, if they never travel, I'm sure they're just overwhelmed and just yeah, not even knowing like how to research, or if they didn't even plan their itinerary ahead of time, then yeah, there can be a lot of stress that comes with it with travel.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of different travel stresses and things like that. And I focused on making sure that all those stresses go away.
Would you say is something that you wish you had known earlier before going into the industry?
I don't know if I wish I knew, because I've always been in the industry, right? So for
Yeah.
me, I've grown up with it. I think one of the biggest learning curves overall is that people forget that when you're leaving the country, you're leaving America. You're leaving what you know, and you have to abide by others' rules. And that's something that I tend to always remind my clients, going, remember that you are leaving the country. So the American Constitution will not work for you.
Yeah, that is right. Yeah, I think, yeah, you're right. A lot of people's mindset, they may just think, oh, I'm still in America, but no, you're in a different country. You have different laws and rules to abide by. Just a reality check.
That's right. And you need that, because people forget. And look, Switzerland is one of the most freeing countries that is there, and at the end of the day, they still have laws that we don't have.
Yeah. What would you say is like one of your clients' biggest challenges, and how are you able to provide a solution?
Their biggest challenges, I would say, is understanding what they're going to expect.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I'm going to Mexico. Well, it's a third world country. Not for nothing, they've got a lot of stuff that we don't have. You'll be fine. Are you gonna, are you going into areas where there might not be some stuff? Yeah, like in China, as an example, where you need to bring your own toilet paper. And they don't have Western toilets everywhere. That's something that is an adjustment. But people, I think, they need to kind of learn some of those moving pieces. And as I talk to people when they go to India, as an example, I had a pastor and his wife go to India, and that was their first international trip. And they were going on a mission. They had no idea what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to kind of, walk them through. And the first thing I did was tell them, do you like curry?
Yeah.
And, they had no idea. And I said, well, go to the grocery store, go get yourself some curry, go to the frozen food section, and go to the Indian, where they have all of the Indian cuisine, and look at the boxes. Look at the names, and then look at the ingredients. Because what you see on those boxes is what's going to help you decipher what you're going to eat when you get there.
Yeah, a lot of it's just planning ahead of time, because they're not sure. They don't even know what to expect. But yeah, to your point, you need to just try out before you go, so to figure out what you're gonna like, and if your body can even handle spicy food or whatnot if you never tried it before.
Exactly. So and can you handle cumin? Because not everyone can handle cumin, right? Mm-hmm. So same thing. So India is full of spices, and that entire region. And I remember talking to her and her husband, and I said, have you gone to the grocery store yet? Like, I'm not asking you to go buy stuff. I'm asking you to go look at it. And then if you think that there's something that you might like, okay, buy it. I mean, I realize it's a frozen TV dinner and it's going to be so far-fetched from what you're going to get there, but it is an opportunity for you to at least, see the beginning of it. People don't realize, little things like that. I told them they live in South Carolina, so they don't have, access to certain neighborhoods. And I said, well, go drive to Atlanta. Yeah. Where it's a larger area and you're going to have these ethnic neighborhoods, and go try stuff out. Go to restaurants before you go. Go meet with the culture that you're going to go, and ask them questions.
Today's sponsor is Anchor FM app. Go download the free Anchor app today to get started. You can find it at your Play Store or App Store. It's everything you need to make a podcast, and it distributes everything for you so it can be heard on multiple platforms such as Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, and many more. This is what I'm currently using right now to edit and record my podcast, and you can do so from your phone or computer. And the tools are really easy to use to help document the Big Cat Lounge journey. So what are you waiting for? Go today and download it. If I was someone, just graduated, hospitality and tourism degree, how would I try and apply my, my degree to today? What was some advice you'd say if I just graduated?
Yeah, I love people who just graduate and they know that hospitality is in their blood. If your hospitality is in your blood, go work at a hotel. Work every single department. Go work in a restaurant. Work at the back of the house and the front of the house. Find the piece of the puzzle that you like best. Definitely spend a good 6 to 8 months interning so that you can literally work every single department. One of the things that when I went to hospitality school in Switzerland, they forced you to do that. You had to work every single piece, from the bar to the restaurant, to the kitchen, to housekeeping, to maintenance, front desk. And I was working in a place where I didn't speak the language. And I did fine. So it's a matter of, you just being able to do all of those moving pieces. And when you figure out what you like, that's the position you go for. And that's how you're able to put all of the moving pieces. A lot of my background is in revenue management. So I did the revenue management, I did the sales, I did the reservations. I've worked front desk. I've done it all.
Mm-hmm. And it's just by being exposed to all these different segments, you're able to put the pieces together and really understand, how the different functions work. So you can relate, because, if you just do one specific role, then you're segmented. So you got exposed to everything.
Yeah. And the other thing too is that when you work all of the departments, you also become more of a team player.
Yeah.
And that's something that people forget, that hospitality is a team effort, not an I effort.
Yeah. And this brings us to the quote of the day. The difference between can and cannot is 3 letters. Those 3 letters that determine your life direction. I think a lot of us will always just make an excuse or just overthink something too much. And it's just, we can't keep doing that to ourselves. We need to just push forward and be positive.
Absolutely. And I agree that we all have to stop and think and go, I've got a hurdle. It's not something that's stopping me. It's just a matter of, do I go over it or under it or around it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just keep continuing to push through, no matter what.
Exactly. But don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
Just figure it out. Absolutely.
What would you say is the most unique travel experience you've embarked upon thus far, since you visited 40 plus countries?
I think my trip to China in 2017 was probably one of my one of the most amazing experiences that I had, because it really opened my eyes to more of the Eastern world. I had been selling it for a long time, but I was there for almost 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And I was visiting so many different areas. And I was in minority villages and learning about all the different cultural pieces. And that in itself, I think, was my most eye-opening. Everything else is pretty westernized.
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to make it to China yet. I've been to Asia, I've been to the Philippines and to Thailand, but I haven't made it to China yet. But yeah, there's so much to explore. There's so much.
Yeah, there is, absolutely. And I can't wait to be able to explore some more.
Is there anything else you want to tell the Big Cat Lounge community?
The community really just needs to know that travel, even during the pandemic, is still available. I'd love to chat with anybody who would like to have that conversation. They can text the word travel to 21,000. They'll get my digital business card. And if, they want to set up a one-on-one, happy to do so.
We are accepting applications if you think you have what it takes to be a big cat and be a guest on the show. Email us at bigcatlounge@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to the Big Cat Lounge podcast. Hope to see you soon.